Okay, so I started out with this old Toshiba satellite laptop that a friend who's taking it apart for parts gave me. Pretty basic, pretty beat up as you can tell. It didn't have a hard drive or a screen, so it wasn't good for too much. What it did come with, however, was the motherboard. So this thing's got a decent array of ports. It's got a SD card slot, a mic in and a line out, volume wheel, SATA for the hard drive obviously, and another for the disk drive, which was broken. VJ out, which is very important for this. Ethernet port, one USB, and some indicator lights. It's got 4 gigs of RAM, which I think may have been upgraded because these didn't come out of the factory. They came with 2 and 3 gigs. A wireless card, and a 1.8 gigahertz Celeron processor in there, which isn't half bad for free. And then also, these are some peripherals. This goes on the motherboard for 2 more USB ports. And here's the fan to cool the processor, and here's the power button. Now that was completely free, but I did have to buy a few things. This is a hard drive extension cable. This was SATA. It was like $4 on eBay. And then this is the hard drive, since it didn't come with a hard drive. And obviously you won't need this if yours has a hard drive in it. But I got this on eBay for about $10. It's a used Seagate 80 gigabyte hard drive, and it's 7200 RPMs. So it's got the standard SATA port on it that fits with this extension. And so that'll work just right for our computer, because it was only $10, and with these two together it was only about $15, so that's pretty cheap opposed to getting new ones. So the first thing you're going to want to do is hook up all your peripherals, like your hard drive. If you have a disk drive, you want to hook up your disk drive, and your power on switch, and all your USB ports and everything that hook directly to the motherboard. The last thing you're going to need is a power adapter for your laptop. You can get one for about any kind of laptop on eBay for under $10. One disclaimer about that extension cable for the SATA hard drive is, on my motherboard, if I was to hook the hard drive directly up, it'd be sticking out the side like this, and I wanted to make my build more compact and just about the size of the motherboard. So what this does is it plugs into here, and I can bridge it back over, bend it like that, and then I keep the form factor small up in here, and I can put the hard drive over here if I want, or whatever, to keep it small, and then just stack it up a little more. Now, as for an operating system, I've chosen Ubuntu because it's free and open source and easy to install on a flash stick. So you're going to need a flash stick that's preferably 8 gigs and over. And what you got to do is you got to go to Ubuntu's website and download the ISO file, and then follow their tutorial for flashing it to a hard drive. It's really quite simple. The file download is quite large. I will warn though, it's almost 1.5 gigabytes, so allow some time for that to download. Okay, so plug in your Ubuntu boot drive, and then your keyboard and mouse, which mine are both wireless, so that makes it convenient. And then plug it into your VGA monitor, which can be a pain. Isn't HDMI nice? HDMI. And then set it aside and get ready to boot up. Once you boot up, you'll be greeted with a startup screen that will tell you to press 2 keys, one for the boot menu and one for BIOS settings. You want to press the one for boot menu. Mine was F12, but yours might be different. So once you're here, you'll see the USB, and if your hard drive is installed, you'll see hard drive. And if there's a DVD drive, it'll also say DVD drive at the bottom. But I don't have one. So mine is just USB and hard drive. So I'm just going to click the USB key, and that will bring me into a Ubuntu startup. And once you see this with that little click at the bottom, you want to click it. Click any key on the keyboard rather. select English for your language. Try Ubuntu without installing, or install Ubuntu. If you've never used Ubuntu before, I recommend clicking Try Ubuntu without installing, just to see how it works and see if you like it and if it's worth it to buy a Windows key. After you click Try Ubuntu, you can go into the menu, and once you're ready to install, all you have to do is double click on this icon and it will bring you to the install page. So you're going to want to select your language over on the left side, click continue. Next you're going to have to choose a Wi-Fi network. Once that's finished, you can decide whether you want to download the updates to Ubuntu, and also if you want to install third-party software for your graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and all that other stuff. I would recommend clicking both of those to keep your software up to date and to give you some basic programs when you start out. Next you're going to come to a menu that asks you how you want to install Ubuntu. I'd recommend you just keep it on the erase disk and install Ubuntu, but if you want to do one of these other things, that's fine. It's just easiest and safest to do the default. Once that's done, you can click install. It'll ask you if you want to do everything, if you want to still go through with it. Whoops. Click continue. Choose your time zone. The last thing you have to do is choose your keyboard layout. The easiest way to do this is just click detect keyboard layout. Follow through with the keys, and then it'll find your keyboard layout for you. So when you're done with that, just go on and click continue. Enter in all your name and what your password is going to. Click continue, and then all you have to do is wait for Ubuntu to install. Before we boot it up, I'm going to show you the case I made for it. I got a nice window here. It's made out of wood. You can see your hard drive, your wireless card, RAM, fan, and then of course your heat sink there. Got all the ports from the original board are accessible. I don't know if you can see them or not, but here's the SD card slot, microphone, headphone jack. On the back there's the opening for the cooling on the fan, VGA, Ethernet, and then one USB port, which I have my keyboard and mouse combo plugged into. Very shoddy power button. And then on the front there's the power jack and the USBs. Wanted to have this power jack on the back, but because of where it was on the motherboard, I could only put it on the front. So I'll actually take this window off too, so you can see inside a little better and see where everything's mounted to. Okay, so here's inside. Got everything. Obviously you can see most of it through the window, but obviously your fan, your hard drive, which is just on there with some sticky foam, so it's still a little flexible, so when it vibrates it won't vibrate the whole thing, but it's still got a little flexibility. Here's the cable. Since it was a little too long, had to bunch it up, get it with a rubber band there. Then everything else is just in there like normal. You got your wireless card, 4 gigs of RAM, fan, and then over here these are the wireless antennas. So you got one on each side, and then all the wires are kind of taped up right there to make it look real nice. One final thing I did to mine was put some magnets on the back, so I can just stick it to the file cabinet right by my desk, and then I'm ready to just plug in everything and get it running. Okay, so I've got it all hooked up now. Got the power cable down here, audio up here, and then the VGA out to the monitor up here, which is running Ubuntu. And I'll probably use this as a media PC or maybe as a system monitor for my main system, so it keeps the CPU load low.